Hey, folks, it's Lindsey Hudson with SPS back in the building, back for another SPS Edge Show. And yeah, the guys are tired. We've been working hard. We've been all over the place. Terry working on new contracts with all the different speaking engagement he has, but we are here. I want to thank Coach Orlando Watkins. I was just over in that office of his. He was a great host for me over the holiday weekend. I think I'm still eating off the food that you guys cooked. You guys were wonderful hosts for me. I appreciate that. To my guy, Terry McCoy Jr., some people say, Terry, coming from my seat, guess what? Terry can have it. It is his to have. He's so comfortable in it. He did an excellent job during the SPS showcase, the Stars showcase that is. We want to shout out SPS and also Stars Activewear, but we had a great weekend, and we got some great things coming up. Our guy, John, is not with us. We will be connected with John in the very near future, John Rutherford. We know that he is a fan favorite, no doubt. But we got some guys like my guy, Aaron Mays, right on time, Aaron. We said, what's up to the fellas? Aaron, what's up to you? We want to thank you for being a contributor to the SPS Edge Show. Actually, is your topic that we're going to kick off everything with. And that is what in the Stephan A Smith is going on, man? What is going on with Stephan A Smith? I want to be able to show you this imagery of Stephan A and see what was going on. Hopefully I put it, I think I may have had it in the wrong spot, but I'm going to pull up, Stephan A. Stephan A is doing a lot of different things right now. He's having a lot of changes on his show, and some could argue that, those changes are, just what the industry requires. Max Kellerman has left. I was a big fan of Max Kellerman, actually. In my personal opinion, I feel that Max Kellerman may have, hey, that's Jimmy King. See you in a second, Jimmy. Didn't mean to bring you up right there. I think Max Kellerman, let's quite frankly say, man, may have challenged Stephan A little bit too much. Now it could be said that, Max has some, kooky ideas or whatever that may be, but Max Kellerman at sometimes was just kind of like, bring it back to Stephan A. And Stephan A. Smith, and I'm not knocking the brother for being, I believe, maybe a $10 million man, if I believe correctly, at ESPN. I'm talking about annually, whatever it may be. But he is he's definitely doing this thing, Terry. And as you see him right here, he's that dude. But this new lineup they're talking about, man, they're talking about bringing the Michael Irvins and the Tim Tebow's every Friday for a debate. All these other individuals. Actually, Magic Johnson may make his way around. This is my guy Demetrius Blackshears right here. So y'all doing a great job, bro. Love the show. Keep doing you. Keep doing your thing. We will, Meathead. We'll hold you down, baby boy. I appreciate you, family, all the way back to Greenview and Field and back in Detroit. My God. Yeah, man. So, Terry, what you think, man? You are a budding color analyst, as my guy Stephen Bardo would say when he gives great advice. He did an excellent job, as I stated before, and others have stated at the SPS the SPS Stars Showcase, interviewing young people like Darrell Brooks, Fat. He's the top player in the class of 2024. I mean, natural chemistry, so you can appreciate it. So what do you think is going on with Stephan A. Smith and the changes they're making on his show?
It's running on fumes. It's about time. It's about time to kind of close it up, because I mean, Stephan A. he's been through. So, him and Skip Bayless had their run. Kellerman's on there now. And Kellerman has his own show on there on ESPN Plus. So, I catch it here and there. It's a good time for him to kind of speak.
What do you think about his show on ESPN Plus, Terry?
I think it's pretty good. I think it allows us to actually see Max as an analyst. I mean, we know that he's a great boxing. That's that's his thing. Boxing is his thing. East Coast accent. He's getting there grinding, talking about boxing. But we get to see him because I feel like a lot of times Stephan A. doesn't really respect Max's views a lot. I think he also undermines them quite a bit. But honestly, I think
let me ask you this.
Yep.
And I'll do the same thing for Orlando. Do you think Stephan A.'s pushback at Max are valid at times? That he disagrees because they are quote unquote absurd, or do you think there may be more to it?
Max has been known to say some, things that are just out of this world, as put that in quotes. But Stephan A. is so can come off as very arrogant. with his views and he thinks his way is the only way, that's really, I mean, in this industry, you have to feel like your ways are the only way, and you have to be willing to fight through thick and thin to defend them, because and that ultimately that gets you where you are. That's why Stephen A is where he is today. But I mean, as far as the show, I mean, it started at 10, so it was a 2-hour show. You know, I don't really see bringing up like former athletes and stuff like that, because Stephen A already has his thing. I remember they had the Stephen A show back then. He has a Stephen A at 7, like before the bigger games, like before the bigger NBA games in the past. I don't know if he's still doing that, but I think Stephen A kind of needs to get his own thing again and kind of just be able to go in on what topics he deems so are important. But I don't like I like First Take, but I don't, because I feel like they try too hard. I feel like Max Kellerman at times would like push and push to find something against Stephen A, to where like that's the only reason why it's a good show, because they argue. So I think this is a good move for Max to kind of do his own thing. I just think First Take was kind of running on fumes, because Undisputed has been doing this thing.
Yeah, very good. I'll ask you a similar question, if you will, while we got people blowing us up, talking about all the different events that's going on. While we're doing that, I want to shout out our sponsor, the Horatio Williams Foundation. They got a big event coming up December 10th and 11th in Detroit. We're going to make sure we get over there. We're going to share some information about those games in a little while. Then, you know, we got some other big events coming up. October 16th, we're going to be here in Lansing, SPS Star Showcase. And then on the 31st, headed to Traverse City. Man, we didn't create a schedule for ourselves, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't
know. That had to have been you.
You know what?
You can see clearly now.
Hey, for this to be my show, I sure mess up a lot on here, man. I be asking you guys, hey man, what's that noise in the background? They be like, that's you.
Yeah, it's like,
hey, y'all solid. It's the dude who got the show who be jacked up. So shout out to my mother, Patricia England. She is watching. She's gonna be holding on. Before I go to you, Orlando, our guy Aaron, who really was the catalyst for this topic. What does our guy Aaron say? He said, I think ever since Max was invited to the Black Cookouts regarding his stance for Colin Kaepernick, Stephen A had it out for him. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example as I get ready to pivot to you, Orlando. I just think that Stephen A has become such an egomaniac that he don't want nobody else to be in his orbit. Nobody who could come close. Because even with him and Michael Strahan, I saw them this morning going back and forth, you know, and it's just like he got this, it's almost like, I don't know if people say this or not, Orlando, that he's like the toughest guy in sports journalism. I don't know what kind of walking reputation he has, but it's almost like he like, man, I got to hold it down. And because of that, any type of friction hurts. And I just think it takes from, but just, I'll defer to you on that. It doesn't have to be a bad Stephen A type moment, but just what do you think about that?
No, I think if you guys had a chance, I think either earlier today or yesterday he was on Hot 97 radio, and he just kind of opened up. I mean, the whole thing with Max, he said, 9 years he was number one, can't stay number one forever. Changes need to be made. He holds nothing against him, but he said he's been in this position. He thinks he knows that what it takes to stay number one. And in his mind, it was time for Max to go, to kind of keep it fresh or to change. But the most interesting thing that was brought up in the interview is that he has bigger aspirations than this.
Okay.
He wants his own late night talk show.
Oh, like Scott Van Pelt. Okay.
Right. That's his goal.
Okay.
He said he's got 4 years left on his contract, and he's looking towards that late night.
Well, and even with that, coming from where I'm from and with you guys' help, what we've achieved, man, I'm the last one to knock anybody. But, the question becomes, can he do that? Can he hold that? I'm going to make it political. If our guy John Rutherford here, he appreciate this, just like I know you would, Orlando. Irma Henderson, former Detroit City Council president, well-respected, well-loved. This is some time ago, Terry, in Detroit politics. She was so loved. They loved her as the president of the city council, but they never supported her to be mayor. It could have been a gender issue at that time, but the fact remains that I would hope things could happen for Stephen A the way he wants it to happen, but they may like you, like Terry said, from 10-1 or something like that, or whatever it may be. But hell, they may not even want to see you from 3 to 6. But that late night tip, you got to just really wonder. So, I mean, all power to him. But I would go as far as to say, well, my mom said $8 million salary, right? Yeah, I will go as far as to say him making the rounds and going on a show like Hot 97 isn't so much to just open up Orlando, but I think it's to try to clarify and create his own narrative.
All right, yeah. And he's definitely creating his own narrative. And I'm getting the feeling. I know. Terry is thinking late night sports talk show. No, I'm thinking he's thinking more Jimmy Kimmel, Johnny Carson late night. That's where his head is at.
And we here at SPS know we all about supporting, man. But my thing is, he can want to do it, but are the people feeling that, my brother? Will they be feeling that? And I think what's happened with Stephen A, he's been able to be in a space where he has been able to, even when he would have politically controversial statements, he's been able to kind of get away with that. I just wonder, man. I just really wonder what may happen. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that to see what goes down with that. I mean, of course, you want him to be successful. I wonder if him getting into the late night space leads him to be potentially even more controversial, and that there had been a buffer for him, because he's kind of on during the day, and that's a different demographic. To Aaron's point, he said Stephen A tried that route once. Does he really want to go there again? Maybe, and I wonder, Aaron, if that's him and his ego, which we all know he have, and I talked about ego on Monday, the Monday motivation. It being a double-edged sword. Ego got him there. He didn't get drafted to the NBA. He played at Winston-Salem State. Worked his way up, made relations with the Allen Iversons of the world, and now he's a man. I would just wish him the best, man. But I just, to Terry's point, he says running on fumes. You wonder if he'll even make it through these next 4 years, and if he does, will his ratings be as high as they've been? So we'll keep an eye out for that. I want to thank you, Aaron, for bringing this topic up. It's been something great to talk about, great for us to pay attention to going forward, and we know it's going to be some more stuff. So with that, man, maybe we all a little tired, man, because we've been out here evaluating and SPS starring it up, man. We had the SPS Stars Showcase this past weekend in Detroit, man, and it turned out to be a very, very great event. I'm not just saying it because it was the event I put on, man. It's just the feedback that I got from people, man. People were just really happy with what we had. I mean, I think this picture says it all right here. Okay. In this picture, Terry, you have 2 McDonald All-Americans, 2 Persian Doughboys, Willie Mitchell on my right in the picture was a 1994 Mr. Basketball, won 2 state championships. Winfred Walton, I mean, taking nothing from Willie, but Winfred at one point was ranked higher, Aaron, talking to Aaron out there in Cyber World, higher than Kobe Bryant. Man, also known as Freeze, definitely was the man. So to have both those guys out, one thing. Then I also say you got to always pay attention to who's in the background. In the back, to my right, sitting closest to Willie, is Fat Fat's dad. If you all are following prep basketball, that's Darrell Brooks, and that's Eric Brooks, Fat Fat's dad, all the way from Granville, Michigan, near Grand Rapids. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple years ago, even early on in SPS's infancy. As a matter of fact, when somebody gave me his number, I went to call him. I already had his number in my phone. So he brought his son down, who's a top player in 2024. And I think this picture really says it all. I could, talk about the evaluators, people like the Orlando Watkins of the world. But there's another point I want to get to, Orlando, and I'll get to that. But Terry, why don't you just give me your take on what the SBS Stars Southeast Michigan showcase was like for you, because you really were all up in there.
No, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was something that I was really excited to kind of experience the Metro Detroit side of basketball. I mean, I hear it a lot about on the show, but I mean, competition was really tough. Everybody was having a lot of fun playing against each other, different schools, knowing each other. But the biggest thing was just talking to him. And I had the pleasure to talk to a number amount of players, Superintendent Stephen McGee, the first African-American superintendent of Harper Woods, like even just like learning from these players, like the players honestly kind of blew my mind because I wasn't really my job, you know, I came in thinking I want to get as much as I can out of these players and get them to, you know, show a different side other than their athletic ability. You know, obviously they're excited for the season coming up, but also what is something that, you know, people don't know a lot about them and why. You know, I asked that why because, you know, some people are like, well, I don't like to show emotion, or I'm the point guard, so I can't. And so it was really cool. And the young lady, Anaya, she really, you know, I really I really put an emphasis on asking her, like, why is it important for you to be a woman in sports? And she talked about work ethic and, you know, women work just as hard as men and they deserve to get the same recognition. Like these kids really poured into it. And I was just there to listen. I mean, I know I hosted it, but I was allowing them to really just give a little glimpse of who they were as a person. I had a lot of fun, and, you know, it couldn't have ended better than Ryan Hacker hitting a game-winning shot. Yeah. And so it was amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan Hatcher, his dad, Ray, is a good friend. And that was in overtime. I mean, here's another visual that the actual evaluators wore, the SPS Stars Showcase Evaluator lanyard. And I guess they liked it because nobody offered to give it back to me. I thought I was going to get it back, Orlando, and be able to bring him to Lansing and on to Kalamazoo. But I got Jimmy Edwards right there. At least Jimmy gave me some swag from Infinity Sports athlete management company. My goodness, he gave me a shirt, a couple snapbacks, but everybody else took my lanyards and dipped on me. Orlando, they weren't even trying to give it back, man.
Well, I got mine in the car if you want me to run it up to you.
No, you good. But hey, again, you got yours. I don't have it. You got it. Yeah. Well, Orlando, let me ask you something, because it was something that you said. You know, I think you would agree that you can be considered a background kind of guy, observing, laying low, man of few words, but when you speak, it's something to be said. You kind of came out of yourself by just saying, I remember sitting over there with you guys, just having a break to get away from the action. There's Jimmy right there with all the swag he gave me, whatever or not. I was happy to let him hold on to that lanyard. But anyway, you were like, hey, man, you was like, who's this kid right here? Now, shout out to Fat, you know, Ryan Hatch, you mentioned him, a lot of other young men, but you was like, who is this kid right here?
That's it.
I said, Tyler Spratt. So let me ask you this. Take me through, and I think the reason I want to talk about this, because our showcase is a great opportunity to highlight those who are underrated, you know, underserved, undersupported. So take me through your thinking to bring you to the point where you, of all people, you don't even, man, we around young people playing ball all the time. And you never be like, what? But you was like, hey, man, who is this kid? And you got up out your seat. Talk to me about that.
Right. No, it's just because I was actually sitting next to Terry. I asked him to help me because we're trying to evaluate, and the action is going, the kids are moving, and it's difficult to really kind of drill down. But Tyler is the type of kid, sort of, what's the best way to describe it? Sort of the quiet storm, unassumingly taking control of the game. I mean, it was just impressive to me. It was just the point that he found his way to the ball, and he just took care of business quietly, not flashy.
Yeah,
he just did his job and did it well. And that just, you know, you don't see that. For, you know, everybody's out there. It's a showcase sort of environment, and everybody's is really trying to showcase everything. You know, let me, you know, put a little sugar up in here in this tea, you know, and mix it up. I gotta throw it behind the back. I gotta, you know, do this, do that.
Right.
He just came out and put in work.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because again, this is crazy, and I love that we have this platform to talk about this, because another well-respected basketball mind came to me, an official who's played on a collegiate level, actually holds records still on the collegiate level, and still refs on the collegiate level now, said the same thing. We were sitting there, and she was like, who's that kid down there? And she pointed all the way across to the other side of the gym. And he was sitting there. And by that time, you had already hit me up, so I already knew. I'm like, oh, my God, they loving Tyler. I was like, Tyler Spratt. So what she said about him was dope. She said he was playing so good, he was getting beat up on and didn't even look to me to get the call. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of testing him like, all right, because what does that say? So many kids want to bail out. So many kids want to look to the ref, Terry, and be like, oh, man, I hope they can give me a call. And so she purposely just kind of looked for that, and he never did. So the kid is working out. That's Tyler Spratt, class of 2024. He's over at North Farmington High School. I'm just telling people, it's kids like him and I'm proud to be associated with, and I'm glad that we have a platform. And then if you look at any of the interviews that he does, I don't like to use the term well-spoken when we talk about young African-American men because, hell, we all can do that well, but he's a young God-fearing young man. He draws you in. He has a personality, and kind of like to Orlando's point, he's not out there trying to put sugar in the tea. And it's always kind of refreshing. You got to see him as well as others, Terry. You got to interview a lot of players. Tell me what your take was on the Tyler Spratt as you and Orlando sat there.
No, I really loved the game. I liked it because, the team he was on, they were going against a team that was like really well put together. An accident. Everyone's kind of going on different teams.
Hey, listen, when we were counting off a couple times, I was like, no, you can't go there. You can't.
Yeah.
It was almost like super team forming. I didn't want that to happen.
It was really cool. So, I mean, obviously, watching him bring the ball up the court because that's what his team needed. I mean, he's not a natural point guard, but he's a very good wing that can score at will. And it was cool to see him because knowing that coming in, I'm like, okay, he's asked to run the point. He doesn't look like he wants to. He wants to get to his wing and get his buckets up. But it was really cool seeing him get other people involved, hitting that knockdown three-pointer that he was hitting. I think he hit like 4 threes the first game. Just doing an even kill, just giving them buckets. You know what I mean? But also still keeping his team together and still competing. Like not once did I see his head drop. Not once did I see him complain. Like he was just getting people in order and kind of taking it. At a showcase, you always look for guys that lead. And so everyone in there thinks they're the best player on the court, but you always had those select few that take that are assertive and take the leadership role of their team of that time. Because these aren't his teammates. These are guys that he met up, great guys around the southeastern area of Michigan that are just here to show off their skills. And he was assertive. He was the leader of his team, and it was really cool to see him play a position. And I wrote it, and I thought of that on his evaluation. I'm like, okay, obviously he's a wing 2 or 3, but he's able to show what he can do at the 1. So he's very versatile, and he plays defense.
Yeah, I mean, all those things, man, it's very refreshing to see a young man like that and what he has to offer. So what I want to do before we take a break, I think it's only appropriate. What we'll take a break for a moment. And when we come back, we'll talk about the upcoming SPS Showcase, and we'll also talk about the importance of metrics, because after I did the quality control on those evaluations between you, Terry, and Orlando, and all our great evaluators, shout out to evaluators that came out, and we got a great group lined up for Lansing as well. We want to talk about the importance of metrics, and I want to tip my hat to Orlando. I know he stays behind the scenes, but he did an excellent job in saying, hey, I think we got an angle of another level we could take things to with metrics. So we'll talk about the importance of that when we get back from break. But right now I want to thank, again, the Horatio Williams Foundation and all that they've been doing to support us and what we have going on. When we come back from break, I'll also give you the lineup that they have coming as well for December 10th and 11th in Detroit. Also want to thank Gilead Sciences. They've been really helpful as well, along with Dick's Sporting Good. So with that, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and keep the show going. We're going to talk metrics. We're going to also talk about what's going to be happening in Lansing October 16th. And right now, Team Michigan is going to take us on break.
Breaking news. Team Michigan Basketball is presenting a series of basketball tournaments at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get your teams registered today. The first tournament in this series is coming this Halloween weekend. Visit boosketball.com or teammichiganbasketball.com for more information.
That's right. Back at it. I got busted, man. I was trying to sneak in a pretzel, Terry, during that time, and I got busted. He came back too fast for me. So here's the thing. Got my guy James Blackbird, really good brother. When I got into Lansing a couple decades ago, he's on checking out, and he made a good comment. You like this, Terry? He said, "Start one for football." Oh, Jimmy, we walking around here like zombies now, man. We do one for football, man. We're gonna need an IV. Get us together. But I like that idea. I like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's consistent with what we've been on. And realistically, Jimmy, you know how much respect I have for you. You got to really put some thought into that, because I think what we're able to do now that's distinguishing the SPS showcases from other organizations, and it's not knocking nobody out here. I'm trying to build community, but we're locking in on certain things that people aren't dealing with, whether it's the media piece, whether it's the mental toughness, the mental health, whether it's having these type of standards. And I think that's a perfect segue for Metro. But Jimmy, you done put one out there, man, and I think that's an excellent idea. So we already know who the first evaluator going to be. Shout out to your boys who doing so well in football as well. But Jimmy, that's my guy right there. And Jimmy can shoot that rock too. I don't know last time you picked the rock up, Jimmy. But we have to get together, man, for sure. So let's talk about the importance of metrics, you know, and why that's important. And while we're doing that, I like to be very specific. I want to look up the definition for the words metric. What I have, metric is defined as, amongst other things, of or based on meter or a unit of length. No, not that one. That's not helping us. You know how they give you a definition that's the word in the word? A method of measuring something or the results obtained from it. Someone once said, man, if you can't measure it, you can't see the progress in it. I may be paraphrasing that, whatnot, but that's what's going on. Matt Moore said, thank you for sharing this. You are very welcome. I'm glad you're getting something out of this.
Glad to see Chief Moore. Glad to see you, Chief Moore.
Thanks. That's Chief Moore right here holding down. Yeah. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We're out here. We're going to keep it going. So, Orlando, I'll start with you, because you had wasn't an epiphany, man. You had a moment. You had a eureka moment. You were like, I got it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the thing is, data rules the world right now, and without capturing data, it's all for naught. Everything is, is subjective. Basketball. I mean, sports in general. Sports analytics is a growing field, and I know that the sports analytics is being pushed by the betting portion of the sports world, but I mean, coaches are using it. I'm guilty. If you ask who's guilty, I'm guilty. I'm a stats fanatic. When I'm coaching, I'm one of those coaches that really looking at the data. Before I put together my starting lineup, I'm looking at the data first.
Yeah.
And to be able,
that's all right.
Yeah, to be able to capture key data metrics in these players as they go along is just crucial.
Yeah,
and that gives you a really strong idea of actually where they stand amongst their peers. Yeah,
I agree. This is the flyer, the digital flyer. There's also a video associated with that. Started moving around last night. Again, I want to thank Security and Financial Services, Urban Grill, Horatio Williams Foundation, and Stars Activewear, our sponsors, and we're looking to bring some more in. Maybe one of our sponsors will step up big. And some things we have planned. So, Terry, if you look on my left, if you will, if I'm saying it correctly, you see that's a vertical jump measurer, similar to what you see in the NBA Combine. And I think to Orlando's point, this is a perfect example of something that you can measure. Even if we're looking at measuring a young man or a young woman's vertical ability between now, and here's what I thought, because this is going to be a product of SPS, we can come back in a matter of time to measure somebody. You can measure somebody within 90 days, because as you know, Terry, being the most youthful among us, we had these growth spurts and all that, and then not necessarily waiting by the time a year goes past for the next SPS showcase to measure, but just right now. We got another Terry McCord making a comment. TJ, you need to get your sister there. All right, hey, she's official, man. Hey, McCord's, they're official whenever it's SPS around. So right there, we got to get her signed up. She's good to go. She get the family discount, no doubt. Thank you, Terry, for signing in. I know you was happy with what your son had accomplished. So, Terry, you're watching you and your development, or I shouldn't even say your development, what you've already brought to not just our show, but just sports when you do the different things that you do. I know you have an appreciation for analytics more than the next man, but just tell me your thought on metrics and the importance of that. And when we talk about having a vertical jump machine or anything like that, what does it matter? As my mom says, stats do matter. Stats do matter. What do you think, Terry?
Yeah, I love stats. I love sports analytics. It's a growing major too. A lot of people are majoring in analytics, and then they specify and get internships in sports. And you have a guy who you wouldn't even think be in a sports environment, and he just good with the numbers, so they got him in there. So I mean, analytics is growing. Also, I like to think of it as sports is a game of inches. It's a game of lengths. It's a game of widths. Like it's all numbers. As you see in the NFL draft, I mean, as you see in the NFL games, sometimes, games are defined by inches, whether a guy's fingertip is a little longer than the other and he catches the ball. Or in the NBA, like a guy's fingertips, the wingspan is so long he's getting steals. Like the game is defined by inches. And so I think, as we see, most guys get drafted just off of their combine experience. So it happens all the time.
What's the statement there? He had a good showing at the combine. That's what you.
Yeah, Metcalf got his name out there at his combine, and some players that are locked in at the first round go even higher just because of their combine experience. So I think with metrics, it tells a lot. With speed, agility, it tells a lot. I think coaches often recruit too. I know Jim Boeheim recruits for his defense. So if he sees a guy with a 7'2" wingspan, he's putting him in the middle. Yeah. Like a lot of coaches are recruiting because of these analytics. So if they see a guy with speed, he's perfect for my man-to-man defense, or he's perfect for my full court defense. I remember Bob Huggins, the coach at down there at West Virginia. I never forget this story. Coach Dave Jones told me this story about how they recruited Javon Carter. He was there to watch somebody else. But because Javon Carter played with tremendous tenacity on defense, guarded the best player full court the entire game, that got him a scholarship. He wasn't even there for him. So it's just the little things.
And seeing how he's in the league now. He's in the league.
NBA player. So, I mean, a lot of these analytics, I mean, some people, I'm a big fan of saying data tells a big story, but not the whole story, but it does help you though. It does help you. It does put you on. It does help.
That's key, Terry. It does give you a good portion of the story, but it does not tell the whole story. And that's where the evaluators that you're bringing in, Lindsay, help create the entire story.
Yeah. We had a great group of evaluators, man. I mean, I can go on from college level coaches. In fact, I was just on the phone today with TJ Kelly, who that's what he does. He travels the country and evaluates. He wanted to get my list. They've got that hot list. But I think it's important, and to your point too, being overly reliant is one thing, but I want to take a step back, and I think this is going to be an excellent segue for me talking more about the showcase, but kind of bringing in and doing a little bit of audible with some of the issues that are happening as we stay on point for our show. What I want to be reminded to say, and I'll ask you guys to remind me in advance, man, when we're talking to these young people at the beginning of this next showcase, and I want to segue into how that's going to go, simply saying, man, look, all y'all ain't going to make it to college and play basketball. All y'all ain't going to make it to the NBA. But I'm sure you're passionate about it. So as you see us and as you see the individuals like Coach Rod Watts and his Waverly coaching staff that's going to be kind of running that. You got the Andre Taylors of the world who'll be coming in. We got a whole host of people. If you go on the SPS Edge website, or if you go anywhere, you'll see the videos that kind of show everyone from Desmond Ferguson with Moneyball, my guy Keith Tate. I can go on. I don't want to not name people. Jody Clemens, people have seen things at the highest level. These young people, man, if this don't work out, man, I could become like an analyst. I can become, somebody where a Tom Izzo has to come holler at me. See, what people don't understand, man, is that if you don't have the necessary talent, the height, and all those God-given attributes, you can present other things, man. Like I want to say Kevin Paga is an assistant athletic director for Michigan State. If he was walking down the street, you wouldn't know who he is. But he's created his own metric system that not only Michigan State uses, Terry, but the college basketball uses. Like when they're getting ready to do the college basketball NCAA tournament, he's in the room. Mm-hmm. He's in the, and he's not 6'8". He don't got a wicked jump shot that I know of. I don't know. They might be hiding jump shots, but he definitely ain't crossing nobody over from what I saw. But my point being is, I think it's important. But what an excellent segue, because now, to Aaron's point, Aaron said excellent observations, Terry and Coach. So absolutely right. Terry dropped the line right here, but boy, you dropped the line on the podcast the other day, though. He said, small talk, but it's big talk. That's a quotable right there. My mom was like, that's heavy. So what I want to do is I want to talk about a special guest we're going to have at the Mid-Michigan Showcase. That is none other than Joshua Lankford. McDonald's All-American. We're keeping that All-American swag going. 5-star recruit. Could have gone to Michigan, could have gone to Duke, could have gone to Arizona, could have gone to Kansas, but chose Michigan State. And this young man has fought through adversity, sat out a long, particular amount of time, and has come back. And what many don't know, he is truly a man of God, and I'm glad to be able to call him my brother. So he's going to be blessing us with his time and his speaking. And I really hope these young people, Terry, in Orlando, can really benefit from what's going on. You're right. Durant dropped it, Terry. That's right. That's my mom talking about you. But so with that, we can kind of run the audible a little bit, guys, because, Josh is representing Michigan State, but by the time we went to press, this was already out there. But Michigan State has made headlines again with Matt Ishbia dropping $500 per player, football and basketball, for the whole year. And I was talking to a good friend of mine earlier, and this is my response, Orlando. I said, it's news, but I'm not impressed. It is news. You know what I'm saying? It's news. It's newsworthy.
Right.
No doubt. But the flip side of it is, I was talking to D Black, my man, Meathead. The flip side of it is, I count that to be maybe $1 million investment. Well, what he can get back if just a fourth of them, a quarter of them decide to get a mortgage through United Share, through his mortgage company. I mean, anybody can sit down and do the numbers and say, oh, dude, this is nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then my guy, Jay Lou, one of my frat bros, he made a good point. He said, a lot of the other sports are going to have issues, particularly, based on gender. And it is what it is, but that was him clearly supporting the revenue-generating sports. So, Terry, again, you your own man. Don't let my thoughts upon it, influence you. But tell me what you thought about Matt Ishbia's commitment of $500 per month for basketball and football players.
It's interesting. I mean, I know a bit NIL has been hitting it. I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's been going off. I'm just say it's been going off. Like Bryce Young, the quarterback at Alabama, is now working with Colin Cowherd, doing his own podcast through that, making money through that. And then a UCLA guard, Jalen Clark, now has his own cryptocurrency. So it's like these guys are making moves. Right now with Matt, with MSU basketball and football players are tapping into, I can't really hate and say that it's not a good thing. It does have potential to do something and to transform into something. But
I will say this, though, Terry. In this particular case, all they had to do was show up. This is, some may even say a power move coming from Coach Izzo in the sense that, or the word control was used, and I was talking to a good friend of mine who will remain nameless, but he might be at the showcase, so I just say that much. And it's not Orlando, it's not you, put it that way. But it's almost like, look, here go this money. Y'all got something. You wasn't going to get nothing because Michigan State probably just wasn't this current roster, football and basketball, probably wasn't going to have the same kind of draw that other programs will have. So now, like, hey, it's just psychologically speaking, it's kind of like you need to get with me because if Tom Izzo wasn't feeling it, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's something to definitely look forward to in the future to see if maybe guys kind of pop off and have a great year and end up signing a deal. Like some of the younger guys like Pierre Brooks, the second, Jaden Atkins, those bigger name guys, even maybe Gabe Brown. He's a social media guy. I mean, a guy with a great smile, signing a deal to maybe some toothpaste. He's always smiling. Maybe he's an endorsement through that. But I think it definitely draws a line, though, because I think some division is going to happen in this. It's not something – I mean – it's not really the player's fault, but whenever someone makes a move like this and they separate or put different sports at a pedestal, other sports will get upset about that. And I think right now,
to your point, they're going to be very critical of them in a way they wouldn't have been. That's like everybody watching you now. If you show up in a real sweet outfit and you get out of a bad car and you walk valet and you trip, everybody going to be like, oh, compared to something else. What did Aaron say? If HBA can support some of the women's sports, if he can at state, that would be great. Yeah, he can support anybody he wants.
My thing is, Aaron, it's only a matter of time. He's going to do it. He's going to be pressured to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Terry, I know you were still going on. I didn't mean to stop your comments. I just jumped in on that.
No, that's exactly what I was saying. It's a matter of time where he kind of gives those other sports, mainly the women, some love too, because he donated that $32 million donation to the football team. So it's about time he starts showing some love to the women because, like Anaya said, I mean, they deserve some recognition too, women's sports.
I need an email or a cell phone. Let him be the sponsor for the SPS Michigan Showcase. We will have United. We was United Wholesale. What's the name of
Mortgage?
United Shore Mortgage.
Yeah,
we'll be rocking them all over the place. We'll get the name right. Orlando, just give me your thoughts. I know you kind of chimed in a bit, but just what you think overall with. Let's just take a step back. We was talking about Mex. Let's talk about your thoughts on Josh Lankford and him being the keynote. And you were able to see what Detroit was like and having those guys down there. And someone like Josh Lankford coming in, whatnot. And then also you just tell me more about what you're thinking with Ishbia.
But I mean, my whole thing is I think it's just really a brilliant advertising campaign. You got to imagine with an organization that big, what his advertising budget is. So let me just take my advertising dollars and do what's most creative, and you were absolutely right speaking, Lindsay, because later on in life, every single one of them kids, when they go get their first home, where they going?
To Matt HBA.
That's it. They're going to him. It's automatic. He showed them love, and he expects that love right back into his business.
And then you think about your mortgage, refinancing, your second home, all this kind of stuff. And check this out. You made me think of something too. I won't say I was triggered when you said it, Orlando, but the marketing budget. When I started my nonprofit.
But look at this. Right now, if you look at the immediate impact that has, because we're looking at the athlete getting that money right now. We're not even looking at the parents and the families. Because now all of a sudden, my son got help from this mortgage company. Well, I was looking about refinancing my home right now. I'm going right to him because he's taking care of Bobby up his state. I mean, the implications of what the money he's going to make he's going to quadruple. With that investment, he's going to quadruple his money in a very short time.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I remember, when I started my nonprofit years ago, and I remember I called a bank, a credit union, and I said, hey, I got a nonprofit, and I was wondering if you guys could help sponsor me. You know what department they sent me to, Orlando? You know what department it was, Terry? The marketing department.
That's it.
And I was like, and it was almost kind of like they was telling on themselves. In other words, they're saying, we gonna use our marketing budget for nonprofit. And you would be thinking that, oh, it's supposed to be it's supposed to come from different. No, but it's marketing, man. It's marketing, and they do it like that.
Yeah.
So, also, too, tell me what you're thinking about Aaron. Excuse me, what you're thinking about Josh Lankford, because Aaron made a good point. Lankford is an excellent example of a person with a plan and a platform. He's very solid. Thank you for that, Aaron. What do you think about Lankford coming in to speak, Orlando?
I think it's outstanding. I think I'm gonna speak to all the kids out there that may be on the edge on attending. This is an event that you don't want to miss. This is knowledge that you're not going to get anywhere else. You know, he's been there, he's done it. You know, take advantage of these. There's so many kids that don't take advantage of the opportunities that are set before them to learn. You know, he's been down the road, he's made the mistakes, and I'm sure what he's going to share with the student athletes there that day is really crucial information that they need to take in and really take it to heart and learn.
And if I could tell you my text message, man, he's fired up. He's very excited. This is not we'll come to do something for my guy. He's like, oh, dude, I want to be there. Terry, what you think? I don't think we got a chance to let you talk about Josh.
No, Josh was a guy like I looked up to during my struggles in my senior year of high school and not being able to play the sport of football again. Like seeing Josh and what he's gone through and hearing about him possibly never playing basketball again and him prolonging his years trying to struggle to get back to the court. Like his mental toughness is through the roof. But I think one thing that I noticed, even with the picture you brought up, his smile. Like no matter what, Josh Lankford has a smile on his face, whether it's in the press conference, whether he's doing something he doesn't feel like doing, he's going to have a smile on his face. And that smile speaks numbers. I mean, the fact that he's able to push through, like you said, a man of God, God's plan, he believes that. I mean, he's not someone, going from a Mr. Basketball to.
Dog, he was Mr. Basketball 4 years in a row in Alabama.
Yeah, Mr. Basketball, McDonald's All-American, playing at state, having a devastating
five-star recruit.
Right.
Let me just add this, Terry. All the things that these young people say they want.
Right.
Like he's been able to do all that with the exception of playing in the NBA. And let's face it, Winfred Walton was in the building in Detroit. Willie Mitchell, these guys have played the highest level. It's like, hell, this is the closest you go get to a high-playing athlete. That just show you how hard it is for these guys. But please, go ahead, Terry.
Right. I mean, he's still working hard. He gets to MSU, still working hard, and then has a devastating injury. And it's like, man, like a guy, like things that happen like that to guys like Josh Lankford, it hurts because they work for it and they deserve it. But he still kept pushing through. He knew God had a plan for him, and he kept pushing through. Always had a smile on his face, and now he's realizing that, look, my power is in my words. I was gifted this ability to preach and to talk about what has happened in my life, and he's going to empower these kids. I think you couldn't have gotten a better person for this area, period, Lansing, because there's been so many things that's been going on, COVID, some gentrification stuff. Lansing needs, some kind of a power surge in this area, in the Lansing area. So I think you couldn't have gotten a better guy. I love his story, and I love him as a person.
And who knows, depending on how things go, we may take him on the road with us as well because he's looking forward to sharing his message. Before we take a break, I want to just check in on something. So with that being said, I want us to take a break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk Coach Prime. Coach Prime about putting them letters on the jersey, them names on the jersey. I got a interesting take on that. We're going to do a quick recap of college football in week 1. We're going to talk about Paul the Truth Pierce and no apologies. And shout out to Aaron. We're going to get to our best NBA players 30 through 20. So with that, guys, we're going to take a quick break brought to you by the Horatio Williams Foundation, Gilead Sciences, as well as, Dick's Sporting Good. But we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back. And this break is being brought to you by Team Michigan. Gotta love it.
You know who it is, baby. And I'm here to tell you about the new youth basketball tournament in Michigan. Team Michigan Basketball has done the work. It's prime time. They are PTPers, baby. Get ready for a scary good basketball tournament Halloween weekend at the venue of all venues, Baby Grand Traverse Resort. I'm talking about a diaper dandy, baby. I mean awesome with a capital A. A basketball tournament that is designed with the entire family in mind. Escape to a 900-acre northern Michigan resort just outside of Traverse City. Enjoy 54 holes of championship golf, spa, indoor-outdoor tennis, indoor water playground, fitness center, private beach club, 4 restaurants, shopping, and now basketball. I can't wait, baby! It's the stay to play that will make your day! Halloween weekend 2021. Check it out at www.boosketball.com. Register your team soon. This one is going to fill up quickly. A basketball tournament at a resort. That's a slam, bam, jam, baby!
That's right. We are back. I want to give a shout out to Johnny Hoop's page. We got a young man who's been posing some pretty cool questions about Michigan State, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge you. We appreciate you. The way the show is going right now, we hope that you can kind of stick around with us. You pose some great questions, and it would be cool to be able to work you in. But shout out to Johnny Hoop's page for checking in and supporting the SPS Edge Show with Terry McCoy Jr. and Orlando Watkins. We got Aaron Mays always laying the cup. Shout out to Coach Prime. I watched him get that 6-7 win over the weekend against was FAMU 7-6. That is, I was like, man, it came down like the one last play, but man, FAMU they couldn't really connect. But I think what really made headlines was his comments after the fact. I want to say when he talked about the names on the jersey. You know, Prime was like, look, man, why doesn't the SWAC have the players' names on the back of the jersey? And I don't know if he was kind of just speaking off the cuff because he was like, you know, how much does that cost? Like $5 or something like that? Or I'll pay it for everybody. And he made the point, Terry, saying, you know, these kids that work hard, they want to be seen. And when we posed this question, I kind of had our buddy John Rutherford in mind on the old school tip, not taking Orlando away from the old school tip. Hell, myself away from old school. Terry, you used the new school. We all old school up here. but I have a different take, and it's not for you guys to necessarily agree with me, but I would love for you to give me some feedback on that. You kind of think about what we've been going through, what we've been dealing with. Moni jumped in on us, guys. Remember Moni? Yeah, Johnny Who's question answers too. Great show, fellas. Here's the thing, though, man. I would argue that in this time of really getting our athletes to focus, can it be argued that that can be even more of a distraction with having the names on the back of the jersey? I'm not sitting saying take the names off, but it's almost like the fact that they didn't have them on. You wonder in this hyped up world now with name, image, and likeness and the kids being about me, if the possibility of a name not being on the back of the jersey may be beneficial. It can actually help promote. Because let's talk about why did Indiana not have names on the back of their jersey? Because it wasn't about the name on the back. It was a name on the front, right?
Correct. I'm
just wondering that, you know, if that is more so what the problem is going forward. I don't know, man. I like it almost kind of like, I don't know if he meant to do that, but it's almost like Deion solve the problem unknowingly. Like, damn, maybe you need to take the names off the back of the jersey. Because if you didn't know me, that would make it. We'll put it this way. Simple question to the audience. I'll start with you, Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Is taking the name off the back of the jersey help promote more of a team-orientated mindset for players?
I think the whole thing, and to be quite honest, Lindsay, for him is about recruiting and bringing players in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. He can spin it any way that he wants. But the point is that if nobody in the SWAC has their names on the back of their jerseys, but I do, that's just another tool for me to bring kids in. Yeah. And then he said it. I sent you the clip from TikTok.
Yeah.
Speaking, you know.
Is that from your TikTok account, Orlando?
I'll deny it to them. It's Team Michigan's TikTok account.
Yeah, I'm telling you, baby.
Don't be searching to see no dance moves from me. That's
all right.
No, but you know, and he made the statement. You know, grandma, daddy, they want to see their name. You know what I'm saying out there, and if he's that only team and it's SWAC that does it, you know what I'm saying, and it allows it. And he can speak to it. We want you we have your name on the back of the jersey. I'm gonna get that kid over any other school.
Yeah.
Now he made the statement that he was like, hell, I'll pay for everybody else's names, but ain't nobody else gonna take him up on that.
Yeah, you're right. Terry, and I think it's very obvious. I made it obvious. I'm a fan of Deion, no question. But man, maybe the space I've been in, and I'll look at the SPS Stars Showcase and recapping and what that kind of did for me as far as my work and what I want to work on, what we talk about all the time, Orlando, where you and I mean, just the space that we're working in. I'm so grateful to be having this labor of love with you guys, but I still cannot help but think if Deion, the unintended consequence of him saying that was that you brought to light what may be a problem or the origin of some of the problems that we have with these young people being too centered and oriented around themselves. Now, mind you, part of Deion's calling to be there is to help promote that program, promote the SWAC, let's just face it, promote HBCU football, right? Yeah. But in the same sense, there's another looming issue that you and I deal with on a regular basis, Orlando, Terry, with our young people not being able to connect in the way we feel, which is why someone like Josh Lankford is probably a better speaker than damn Deion would be, as crazy as that sounds. I'm confused. I'll defer to you. Help me out, Terry.
Yeah, so, I mean, my first initial thought was, I was very supportive of it because I think of it in two different perspectives. So, but first, my initial perspective, was I was really happy about it because, like you said, Deion Sanders was brought to the SWAC to kind of transform HBCU football, but mainly the SWAC. And so I thought of it as maybe as he was really challenging these schools to stop being cheap and to really support and really invest in these players, have them be proud of their last name on the back of their jersey. It's a good point. I mean, I kind of wish that they did, but also my other thought was about Penn State football. Like that was the first thing I thought of. Penn State, their players, I believe I didn't watch much of their game against Wisconsin this past weekend, but as I remember correctly, they don't have last names on the back of their jersey. And I remember exactly when Joe Paterno would talk about that. It's about the team. It's about the team than yourself. And so you see, Penn State classic blue and white jerseys, because they're about
guys from Penn State go to the league.
Right.
They're linebacker factory.
Right.
We got the two twins, Orlando, from Detroit. Kobe and what's the young brother's name? The King twins from Detroit are playing at Penn State right now. I'm sorry, Terry.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, they're sending guys to the league, but ultimately it's about, unity, team camaraderie, bringing guys together, loving on one another, having a good team. So I can see Deion's point. I can see it as a recruiting pitch, like, hey, we'll treat you right over here. We'll get you a name, get your name on the back of the jersey, have your mom, auntie, anybody see you playing on that field. But I think, I thought of it more as like he was really challenging the SWAC, changing the identity, showing that they buy in. Because, I mean, you saw the facilities they had over there at Jackson State. Like, I feel like he's just trying to change the narrative. But also, I mean, when you're a coach, you always got to find a way to get the upper hand and throw in like, hey, we'll treat you right, nice and right over here.
Well, I got somebody, man, who just pretty much shut down my point. My mama say, I want the name. I want to see it. That's just me. I'm not a player. She says she hate that Penn jersey. Mama, I know, but what I'm just trying to say is this. What I'm trying to say is, in the current state of affairs we have with young people in sports, I'm just curious that the same reason why they had that concept, Bobby Knight of Indiana saying it's not about the name on the back, it's the name on the front. Same thing with Joe Paterno, who unfortunately both those guys in present day are pretty much canceled.
Yeah.
Cancel culture. Yeah. How ironic is that? Coaches who are considered, historically some of the most influential and impactful coaches are basically canceled. That's crazy. Yeah. That's another conversation. But Mother, I just really wonder if that is something to be said to make these young people be a little bit more introspective, be a little bit more selfless, and to be honest, my mama, she on it. She say, get in their heads, not their attire. You know what? If you wasn't my mama, I'll be mad at you. Wow, good point, Mom. Getting their heads, not that, but Mother, their attire is attached to their heads. Their attire, this same image and likeness. this me, the social media generated, the image I create online, the person I am in social media, you wonder if, they said if it was good for people 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, why wouldn't it be good for people now? I'm just saying.
I'll add too. The biggest thing I noticed in the recruiting world, how do they, because how players, right, they'll send and be like, oh, Oregon's showing me love. And they'll create like this nice graphic of him in an Oregon jersey that he took at his visit, some graphics of him, his stats and all this stuff. Oh, best player in Michigan, best player, top receiver in Michigan or whatever. A lot of the graphics that they make or the little letters they send or the different social media posts, oh, good luck playing so-and-so in high school. All that stuff is social media based and them letting them know, like, this is our guy. We're talking about, like, for Malachi, they sent him a thing, good luck against, the first team that he played.
Malachi was going to Syracuse.
Yep. They sent him they had a graphic he posted on his social media where Syracuse was like, good luck, Malachi, versus, I forgot the name of the team they played week 1, but it's a part of the game. It's a part of the recruiting process, that name, image, and likeness.
Orlando, check this out. To Terry's point, Terry just made a point, man, and I think I got some here. When you go on your recruiting visit, they don't make you take a picture with your future teammates.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
So just think about that.
Yeah.
You go on that big scoreboard, it's a picture of you and you alone.
You walk into an empty stadium.
That's it.
You're going to say your name. You're going to be on the scoreboard. It's going to be all about you.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get there, they say, you ain't nothing because you ain't a good teammate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now I'm really drifting in my thoughts, and I won't use this time to go on it. But now it's like, well, what is it then?
Yeah.
Because if I got there, and if I put it this way, if I acted the same way you treated me when I came on a visit, I wouldn't make it through the first semester.
That's true.
That's it. But let me take you even further.
Go ahead.
You a military man, right?
Yes, sir.
You got recruited by your recruiter. When you went to that recruitment office, it was all about you, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Until they got you on that bus.
Sure was.
And got you away from mom. Am I right?
Oh, man.
And when you got there, you ain't, hey.
And then, you know what it became about? The man to the left of you and to the right of you.
That's right.
So is it now? Are we talking about a human? Because even with Deion's point, Deion is making this point for the sake of what? Recruitment. This is a recruitment tool to bring you in. But when I bring you in, I have to strip you of your individuality to make you more of a team person. But you can't even be mad at him because for 4 years or throughout my recruitment process, all you did was make me an individual. You didn't call me and say, hey, Terry, put me on the phone with your teammates. Let's all talk. You didn't group text me. Mel don't be talking about, hey, man, let me talk to everybody else. Tom don't be like, hey, man, let me go over your homeboy crib, your other place. No, it's like we do this to get you, and then we wonder why we can't make you a teammate. So maybe the kid that didn't get recruited, that walks on, becomes like the best kind of teammate because of their humility. Maybe the kid that wasn't a 4-star or 5-star recruit can eventually have a long one. Last thing I'll say on this note, because I didn't even expect it to go here, but as we talk more, it made me think. When I interviewed Grant Long a few weeks ago, shout out to my guy Milton Barnes, Coach Barnes at his Playwright Golf Outing. Grant had a 15-year career in the NBA. You knew that, Terry. You know that, Orlando. Mm-hmm. And he said, and I made the assumption. They said you shouldn't assume because of what it does. Excuse me. I said, oh, man, so you must have just been a man on your team in high school and college. He's like, no. In high school, I was like the 4th or 5th guy.
Yeah. In
college, the 2nd or 3rd. He said, it's because, check this out, I kept working hard and the other guys started slacking off that I was able to go on and do it. And he said, when they put me in the game in the NBA, no matter how long I was in the game, I went hard. As they say, he had a motor. So I'm wondering if it's something to be said about the longevity. Because think about it, with the exception of LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, I mean, these names that we throw around so easily, guys. How many people start out on top and stay on top for their entire career? Or is it a story of a somebody who had to work their way through. Yeah, you got these phenoms that we know about, but that percentage doesn't really qualify to say that is how it goes. So anyway, maybe that's a thought for another time. This has really been on my mind, and I think as I take further steps with the showcases and how we're trying to help these young people, not just on the hoop court or on the football field, as Jimmy Blackenberg says, we got to think about this. So maybe that's for another time. So Terry, something I know is gonna make you happy, man. We're gonna go on to do a recap of college football week 1. You want to do that?
Yeah. So I mean, throughout this week, man, this week was really interesting. The games that we highlighted, Clemson, Georgia, the one that we were talking about, whether this is Georgia's time, absolute dogfight.
Sorry, brother.
I'm sorry. Clemson had a total of 180 yards, total of offense. Georgia 256. Dogfight. Georgia's defense, the truth. I mean, as we knew coming in, they allowed 2 yards rushing, but I didn't really see too much on the offensive side because it was a dogfight. I mean, these two teams prepped all summer for this one game. It's not like they had a couple weeks prepared. This game was on the schedule since we knew it in the winter. So these guys are preparing in the weight room, knowing who they got week 1. And so as my advice for coaches, throw the tape out. I mean, what really can you learn from that dogfight? I mean, there were a ton of mistakes on offense. Defense, I mean, you guys were having one heck of a film session because there were so many plays made on defense, both sides. I mean, Clemson, look, you gave up 10 points to that explosive Georgia offense they keep talking about. And Georgia, you gave up 3 points. You gave up 2 yards rushing. Like, dude, that's something to cheer about. And so with that game, I didn't expect anything less. It was an absolute dogfight. But as we talk about Clemson, though, we talked about how important that game was for Clemson because of their strength of schedule. A team that they were hoping to meet at the end in the ACC championship lost on Friday. North Carolina, the number 10 team in the country, lost to Virginia Tech 17-10. Their Heisman hopeful quarterback Sam Howell didn't have the best game. I mean, they're playing in West Virginia's home where it can get rowdy, but they didn't have their best showing and they lost. Same with Oklahoma. They were on the edge of losing, but if Tulane doesn't make those 3 turnovers, we're looking at a different game. If they convert, they were 4-14 on third down. Maybe it's a different game if they complete half of those on third down. So a lot of opportunities missed on beating these top teams, but we saw some teams go down. LSU lost to UCLA. UCLA is going to be a good team this year. Even Ohio State, they had some struggles a little bit. C.J. Stroud was a little antsy his first start, redshirt freshman, but ultimately got his rhythm back. That receiving core is legit, and so they were able to win. But I saved the best for last. Congratulations to the MSU Spartan Dogs for winning that first game. Look, all the haters out there saying that it's just Northwestern, look, that's what they were supposed to do. And I say that because, look, you can only play the teams that you're lined up against. You're expected to play your best against Northwestern, Ohio State, Michigan. It doesn't matter. You want to put your best product, your best performance out there, no matter who you're playing, and that's what they did. I love what their defense did. Their play recognition was amazing. I mean, time and time again, man, their defense was in the film room. Like, it would be plays where, like, oh, they're trying to get them off guard with the screen. There's an MSU guy flying up there. Dowell was there all night. And that's the guy that had family history at MSU, brothers playing there out of coming out of the Ohio area. I mean, those guys I see him going to the league. And so, I mean, constantly MSU, and it was weird to have them in the 500-yard range on offense. They had 511 total offensive yards. When have we ever really said that about MSU?
Well, and the big concern was about MSU offense of the past few seasons. I mean, we heard that ad nauseum about the offense not being able to make anything happen.
Exactly. And I think my biggest thing, Kenneth Walker the third, was really good. I really enjoyed him running the ball. He has speed. I think that's something that MSU was missing a little bit consistently last year. I mean, a guy that can just change the game in one play. Another guy, a transfer that came in that Mel went out and recruited to have him come to Michigan State. That goes to show, hey, he's recruiting his butt off. They don't have to be guys coming out of high school. He's getting the college guys, but the quarterback issue is always going to be there. They're going to talk about should Anthony Russo start or Thorne should start. Thorne had moments where he threw it up for grabs. He had moments where he didn't look too comfortable. But as expected, it's the first game. They were playing on the road. They were playing on a Friday night. So, I mean, hey, it's going to happen, but he has another game to kind of get the fans back around him against Youngstown State. So MSU, they have a big opportunity. Miami is going to be a test, though, because Alabama beat the brakes off them as they do anybody on Labor Day weekend. I mean, if you schedule Alabama on Labor Day weekend, it's a guaranteed loss. You're going to start the season off 0-1. So hopefully they can get that Miami game. That's going to be a big test for them. But right now, take care of business. Work on putting your best product out there every Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Wow, Terry, your recap, man, is a show in itself. I mean, you can't even argue with that. Orlando, I'm not trying to push you in front of a trainer or anything, but to follow up Terry's recap, is there anything you want to share with that?
I'm gonna make one comment because I have an LSU Tiger in the house. LSU looked horrible. That's it from me.
You would have been to say that. I get it. I want to thank, on that tip, I want to thank, we've been having a lot of new faces pop by and share and bring some great comments. I want to shout out Tay Anderson, representing the Harbor. She just popped in, and I don't even know. You know what? Check this out.
Make it a topic. We got to
be a topic right now. We got to get the we got to get the WNBA popping. She says just ran across and love it. Thank you. WNBA named their top 25 players in their 25-year history. Who's your WNBA GOAT? You got Cynthia Cooper. I like, Sean Staley and Carl Lawson. I'm a big Carl Lawson fan now. We're on LinkedIn together.
He's hilarious.
He was one, but Don Staley, every youngin' growing up where I'm from, love that. But Tay, check this out. This is what we're going to do. Next week, we're going to include the WNBA in our topic. And from henceforth, we'll make sure we stay on top of that. Also, want to give you props real quick, Terry, from Aaron. He said, great recap. But Tay, we appreciate you checking in. Stay up with us. Keep following the SPS Edge. You can follow us on YouTube as well as here on social media as well. Sticking with professional basketball after we come off that great recap that you had, Terry, that's going to be your segment now. That's, you got to give us the recap. So you already know Terry's take on that, not to take away from my guy, Deshaun Tate. Shout out to him. But I want to talk about my guy Paul Pierce, man, and it's been a gamut of emotions surrounding him. He said no apologies. I try not to promote things, but in this particular picture, that's only like a small portion of the picture. That was him hanging out on his IG. He was hanging out partying, and the girls were having libations. And he said, I was done with them anyway, referring to ESPN. There's a lot of stuff you can't say over there. And you have to talk about LeBron all the time. I mean, that was one comment, but he also made reference to almost like, what was it, as my mom loved him, say the truth. Almost was it, Orlando, like a moralistic issue. Because basically, he mistakenly that he said his IG page was going while he was partying, he was partaking, he was drinking and smoking and partying, gambling. But he said, dude, all these other guys out here trying to come at me or say stuff like that, like they married and they be doing all this stuff. He said, I'm divorced. I'm not in the league anymore. I'm done. So supposedly there had been this communication because this was all leading up. Was this going to impact his Hall of Fame induction? So with that being said, people have been telling him, well, you need to apologize. You need to apologize. And the truth was like, I ain't apologizing. His caption.
No need.
And then also that he had a conversation, Orlando, with, I don't even know what nickname to give this guy. I'm a big fan, Jerry Colangelo. I can't call him Mr. Basketball. I got to call him, if Jerry West is the logo, Jerry Colangelo is like the ball itself. Like Jerry Colangelo is the man. And Jerry asked him, what you gonna do? And he said, I'm not apologizing. And he still got fitted for his Hall of Fame induction, and he was there. And side note, Derek Jeter got to be a bad man. If at your Hall of Fame induction, you got Michael Jordan sitting there and he on the second row at your Hall of Fame induction. I know. I just had to put that out there, you know. Who ball is scoop? Appreciate what you say. Is Paul Pierce saying what fans and NBA players want to say in terms of ESPN and talk about Brian Dead? Who ball is scoop? I want to hold that for a second. Hold that. Because we'll get to that. But there's one point I want to make right here. And I don't know, as of late, I've gone through this mental portal about, you know, what I'm thinking. It all is rooted in psychology. My concern is that players are listening to Paul Pierce. You can't be Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is independently wealthy. He's retired from the NBA. He's retired. He's done. He is done. He can do his own thing. These players cannot get out here and start talking about, as my mom say, no right, no apologies, Hall of Famer. See, what happens so many times, Terry, I think, is that people look at people who've accomplished something and they say, yeah, I like what they did. But you can't do what they did because you're not them. You know, now I tell you what, I bet he would apologize if he was getting ready to go to the NBA Combine. And I was in New York. This is ironic. It's ironic I can share this story. When Paul Pierce played at Kansas, you know, and Paul Pierce, he'd be the first one to tell you, he was expected to go higher in that draft. He ended up working out with a lot of teams. I don't even think Boston, like he wanted to start out at home. He wanted to start out with the Clippers. He wanted to start out with the Lakers. He wanted to start out at home. I was in New York. I came out of a hotel and ran into Paul Pierce. We were walking down the street together, and he was going to a workout with the Knicks. I'm like, dang, he tall. You know what I'm saying? But if he was the Paul Pierce looking to make an NBA team, I bet he would apologize. And I'm not even knocking him. But I'm just saying, here's my thing, Orlando, and I'll start with you. I'm not mad at the truth. No pun intended, right? I'm not mad at – I meant Paul Pierce. I'm not mad at Paul Pierce. I'm glad. But what I feel I have a job to do is I have to keep communicating to people that you can't do what everybody do because you ain't everybody. I'm not saying Paul Pierce is better than you. I'm saying he's in a different situation.
Yeah.
He's done. He's a Hall of Famer. He didn't do this thing. He told ESPN, I was straight on y'all anyway because y'all had me talking about he was in a position to do that. Orlando, what's your thoughts?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, he was in a position to be himself and to be totally honest. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, he made reference. He ain't call out names, but you know, you worried about me, a single man out here drinking with some strippers, and there's a bunch of cokeheads in the Hall of Fame right now. So you know what I'm saying?
And they married. So
right,
you know,
right. So you know, my hat off to him. But you're right. You know, if you in the thick of it, you know what I'm saying. You still in the game in some shape, form, or fashion, and you're not in his position. You either keep your mouth shut or be ready to apologize a whole lot of time.
Or not even that. Not even that. Let's kind of go back to the space of these young people that we've been working with. And I'm really having, you know, this is really having an impact on me because I keep going back to the weekend that we have and not just the success of the showcase, but Orlando, Terry, we're the only guys that's kind of out here working like that.
Yeah.
We're out here just trying to see you make a wicked jump shot. I mean, from the things we're talking about, the approach we're taking, I'm worried that somebody who was at our showcase saw what Paul Pierce did and said, yeah, I'm going to be like Paul Pierce. And Terry goes, Terry, listen, because, look, I got a little notoriety. I was at the SPS Star Showcase or whatever. I may be ranked. And no, I ain't and instead of it being Paul Pierce apologizing to mainstream media, it's them not apologizing to their third-hour teacher. It's them not apologizing to their coach. It's them not saying I'm sorry. It's them taking these things off. And guess what? I cannot be mad. No blame should be placed on Paul Pierce. I'm just trying to say, I just want us to keep in mind that people are always looking and watching. When you see somebody like Paul Pierce say that, I think us as mature adults can look at that and understand and appreciate that. But so many people can miss that point and take the wrong route. Terry, what do you think?
Yeah, Paul he's in a different situation. So he has the luxury to be like, oh, I didn't really want it anyway. But I mean, if you didn't want it anyway, why are you so hurt about it? You know what I mean? So it's in a sense of that. But the biggest thing that got me is, and a lot of this, I'm not biased at all with LeBron. He's my favorite athlete. My favorite player is Damian Lillard. But it just something got to me, when he talked about, this really answers the Hoop Scoops question. They talk about Bron daily, but I mean, for the most part, Paul Pierce, anytime they mention Bron, you have had many opportunities to make, smart, petty remarks, as you did on TV, on NBA Countdown. Anytime they mention Bron, you had something smart to say. A lot of that might be because of your rivalry between Bron, which we can go through. He
get a Cat Williams look when Cat Williams say how Hillary Clinton used to look at Barack Obama. He was like,
yeah, and it was just. I mean, I hate to call somebody jealous, at that high of a level, but in a sense, it kind of felt that way because you have to understand, ESPN is a business, so they realize people draw towards LeBron, LaMelo, Trae Young, Luka, so they want to see them and talk about.
That's like talking about Jordan in the
90s. Hold on now. But come on, I'm gonna be. I don't want to interrupt you. But I'm on LeBron overload. Okay. Show me something else. I'm tired of hearing about LeBron. I know.
What? Okay,
we know he's a great player. You don't have to tell me every 10 minutes.
But you know what though, and that's fair. And I'm like Terry. I'm a LeBron fan, and I appreciate you saying that, Orlando. And somebody probably about to post, say it loud for the people in the back. They probably about to put that up there. I don't know who's gonna say it, but that, and I'm not saying it's right, but that is, to Terry's point, ESPN's business model. We're gonna align ourselves with we're gonna and they might be like, we got to keep LeBron happy because LeBron's a force out here. Like LeBron's influence goes far. So is it Paul being petty? Well, who Baller Scoop got to say about that? He said, yeah, they make up topics about LeBron James. Even
absolutely. LeBron changed your socks today.
Hey, that shows say it loud for somebody in the back.
That's true. That's true. But when it's Paul Pierce, though, Paul Pierce has always been known to talk smack about LeBron anytime he gets.
Well, wait a minute. In all fairness, Tom Brady overload. Tom got up today.
I'm tired of hearing about Tom Brady too.
Yeah. What you say? Rodgers, when he was sitting out, Rodgers at a concert, Rodgers playing golf.
So is this the Duke effect back in the day where because of their success, we just get tired of it?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it fair to say?
No, this goes beyond that, Lindsay. This goes beyond the success thing. It definitely does. It's way beyond the Duke effect.
It's beyond that.
It's because LeBron. Because think about it, LeBron. Coming out of high school had a magazine that said The Chosen One. You know what I mean? So LeBron's expectations were Jordan, right? And so like LeBron, arguably has passed Jordan, arguably almost caught Jordan, but he's passed them off the court. I would say, whether it's giving back, being a philanthropist, giving back to the community. Whether it's, investing, doing different things like that. So I think when you have a guy like LeBron who has surpassed the expectations of being the Jordan, being the face of the NBA, I feel like ESPN is so locked into that. And so like kind of guys like LaMelo, they feel like LaMelo Ball is starting to get that ESPN stardom, that treatment where they love LaMelo. Every highlight is a LaMelo highlight. You know what I mean? So ESPN locks and loads under athletes that they feel like that they feel like fans are drawn to. But we got to get straight though. LeBron, we have never seen a LeBron James before, and he's 18 years in counting. Like we have never seen a LeBron James before. So as far as I'm concerned, we're gonna treat it like his Jordan in the 90s. This is my Jordan in the 90s. I'm gonna get it until he's done.
Yeah. Who Baller Scoop says sometimes you want as Rich Paul throwing that under the table money. Oh, that payola.
Like the old radio days.
Play
that record over and over and over again.
You gotta get to the next week.
Young fella, he hasn't passed Michael Jordan with all due. Everybody jumping on you for that one, man. Hey, you know what? That's what Terry said. Hoop Baller Scoop and Patricia England. I'm talking to my mama and Hoop Baller Scoop. That's what he said. It is what it is.
I mean, hey, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't drop my 10 through 1 yet. You know, my 10 through 1 is still to come. Maybe I have LeBron, maybe I don't. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's an excellent segue. We're working through best players and hoop ball school. We appreciate you bringing that, man. Stay with us and keep bringing those great topics. And my mama, you know you got a bias towards Michael Jordan no matter what. You know, I will not say on this podcast that you was a fair weather fan because you wasn't always a Jordan fan. You used to be a Laker fan, and they started. Yeah, so I'm just saying. I said it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's a hard switch.
Yeah, it is. But that's when I learned the term fair weather. And God bless my mother. I'm glad I ain't sitting by. She'll probably pop me. So our guy Aaron Mays has been such a great MVP for this show. I want to start out with his choices 11 through 20 through 11 as it relates to the best players. And here's our Elvin Hayes, Garnett, Barkley, Moses Malone, Karl Malone, Julius Erving, The Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, and Kevin Durant. And I'm going to work to get those up on the screen so we can see. When you hear those, Orlando, what do you think?
Yeah, all right. They sound pretty solid.
Sound solid? I like that. I want to put those up so we can look at it one more time. I love seeing people like my guy, Hakeem, man. So underrated, underappreciated. Let me see what we got here. Elvin Hayes. And I think that we are at a disadvantage when it comes to a lot of these older players because we just weren't able to see them, man. It's just not that footage. And I even wonder, man, if there was some way that we can do through some kind of technology, be able to get just as much footage and the analytics on those guys of that era. Who we got here? Let me put it up.
And I'm gonna go ahead and give him some props. Aaron, I'm giving you your props. It was a good list.
It's a good list. Again, I'll say Elvin Hayes, Kevin Garnett, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, Karl Malone, Julius Erving. That's kind of interesting. Julius Erving falls right there, but it is what it is. Hakeem Olajuwon, I'm still kind of like, ooh, that's kind of – it definitely ain't high. To me, it might be kind of low, but who am I to criticize, Aaron? And this next week will be a monster. Next week, people going to be moving furniture around, right?
Well, they're going to be screaming and howling.
Yeah.
I was already getting hit. I didn't even release my list yet. I'm like, I don't know I got brought out.
Oscar Robertson and Kevin Durant. Okay, let's go to you, Terry. You want to share your list?
Yeah, so just to go off bat, a lot of these players, like if we have ever like a, go back and edit some of these lists, I would. I feel very, 50 through 41 was really tough. So this is clear. I'll make the edits back then if we got time, But I got 20. I got Charles Barkley. 19, Karl Malone. I have 18. I have AI. 17. I have Alvin Hayes. 16, Kevin Garnett. 15, I have Dr. J. 14, I got Kevin Durant. And then I got 13, the Big O, Oscar Robertson. And then 12, I have Isaiah Thomas. And then 11, I got Hakeem.
We're going to get to your list in a second. Hoop Ball and Scoop just kind of threw a little loop at us. A little curveball. He said if you included Dr. J's ABA career, Doc is top 10. See, that's one of those aspects. Do you include, some of these previous playing days and what they got out of that? But you're absolutely right with that. Terry, for the sake of, go through that list again, please.
Yeah. So I got Charles Barkley at 20. I got Malone at 19.
Which 18. Malone? You got to be specific.
Oh, Karl Malone.
Karl Malone.
I got 18, AI. 17, Alvin Hayes. 16, I got Kevin Garnett. 15, I have Dr. J. 14, I have Kevin Durant. 13, I have
you got Kevin Durant twice.
I had Kevin Garnett at 16.
Garnett, my apologies. All I heard was Kevin.
No, it's good. I got and then 13, I got the Big O. And then 12, I have Zeke. I got Isaiah Thomas. which I edited him in there. I was tripping last week. And then 11, I got Hakeem Olajuwon.
The dream. Okay, here's a question I have for you, Terry, and this is a cheat sheet for you, Orlando. I'm going to ask you this too. Where did you struggle, if at all, on this list?
My biggest thing was Kevin Durant, because
where he goes,
because I felt, Kevin Durant was one of those guys where arguably one of the best scorer ever, 7-foot sniper, great handle. I mean, guy can do it all, but his rings. I mean, that's always a question where,
wait a minute. I'm getting Kevin's confused. You said Kevin Durant or Kevin Garnett?
Durant.
My apologies. Because you started talking, I was thinking Garnett. You said sniper. I said sniper. Like, okay.
No, I'm talking about, 3-point layup, Mr. 3-point layup.
Ask a question too, and this may not be even a fair question. You have an answer. Does Kevin Durant's social media presence and his quote-unquote sensitive response impact where he's going to rank? It has nothing to do with basketball, but do you think that impacts people's perception of him as a dog or not a dog?
I think basketball-wise, no, because we know what Kevin Durant and what his output is on the floor. But I think mentally, like, it's going to be on the back of our minds of how Kevin Durant jumped ship and joined the Warriors. So that's something that's always going to be. And that was one of my things where it's like Kevin Durant has rings, but at the same time, it's like, were they legit? You know what I mean? So I think him winning the other one.
Well, people will say legit, but I know what you mean, that it casts a shadow, and it also makes you think of a Michael Jordan who stayed and got 6. Yeah. But then he can also argue different era.
He joined the unanimous MVP, in 2016. He joined Stephen Curry, the top 3 players, the top 2 players. So I say LeBron was 1, and then Curry and Kevin Durant were those were the top 3 players in that time. 2 of them were on the same team.
I got something started, and you get ready, Orlando. You up, but hoop ball school, like, didn't Warriors need KD? Yeah, they did need KD. They went to him saying, we got to have you, dude. Yeah. That was no question. So that's a good point. But does Brian Heat rings have an asterisk? Well,
no.
Is that the same? Why is that not the same, Terry?
It's not the same because, one, Chris Bosh, I mean, I don't know what happened to him. Same with Kevin Love. They weren't the same players who they thought were going to the Heat, or Kevin Love when he went to the Cavs. Dwayne Wade, like, I feel like these teams were different because Kevin Durant joined the winningest team in the regular season ever, the 73-9 team. They blew a 3-1 lead, and then you add one of the best scorers on the planet on your team. So that gives you the extra boost to be, want to be the best teams ever. I mean, that team was so good. I mean, you have Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, the best shooter of all time, Steph Curry. So, like, it's a different kind of one. It's a different time period. But then 2, it's like you had the 2 of the top 3 players on one team. I mean, you can't get much better than that.
I got one more question for you, Terry, before we get over to Orlando. You think it's possible with what's been going on at Brooklyn that Kevin Durant may regret having left the Warriors?
I say yes and no. I think, with that conversation he had with Draymond, I think, which he might have been, kind of stretching a little bit, but I think Kevin Durant likes to kind of try different things and kind of add on to his legacy. So I think this is a good move for Kevin Durant to kind of prove that he can win somewhere else and that he didn't need the Warriors. Because, I mean, we're seeing him coming off the Achilles injury and he's out here killing it. So I think this is a good move for him to kind of show that he can win somewhere else and not, the great way over there back at Golden State.
Great. Orlando, I see Hoop Baller Scoops trying to be our new Patrick Rutherford. He like Chris Bosh was known as a top 3 power forward. D-Wade, second best 2 guard. Come on now. So what is he saying? He's like there's no comparison.
It's what you do when the lights come on. Bosh. I mean, Bosh disappeared. I mean, he had that one clutch rebound to kick out to Allen, one of the best iconic rebounds ever. But come on now, we talking about. I mean, Chris Bosh disappeared so many times, and D-Wade was hitting the back end where he was just kind of chilling some games. So I mean, I think we got to think and put in perspective now that, like, the team around that Heat team off the bench, reserves, they were not good compared to the Warriors, where you have
no question the depth of their bench. The Warriors bench compared to Miami. Orlando, what you got for us, man?
Here we go. Get ready for the comments.
All right, comments coming.
At number 20, we're going 20 through 11, right?
Yes.
All right, here we go. At number 20, Alex English.
He's a scorer. He's definitely a scorer.
Number 19, Vince Carter.
Oh man,
that's how my daughter look at me sometimes. That's how she goes.
I'm waiting for the comments.
I'm coming back around for that one, but go ahead.
Number 18, Kevin Garnett.
KD. All right.
Number 17, John Havlicek.
Okay.
This one gonna get some comments.
This the one.
Number 16, Paul Pierce.
Hey, was that a new addition, or was that always sitting right there?
We it's always been sitting there.
So the question would be, and we're gonna let you keep going, is that too high or too low? I think that's a Paul Pierce should send you a note and say, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're gonna see some money too.
Yeah, right. And to your point, I know you're still going Orlando, but who ball a scoop jump? He said, why don't we give Vince Carter more credit?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Really a winner.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, Terry. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, well, keep going. Keep got some more. We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Number 15, Tim Duncan.
Timmy, that might be a slight.
Yeah,
that might be a slight.
It just may be. Number 14, Dominique Wilkins.
Dominique, okay.
Woo. I want to come back around and find out. Hey, wait a minute. There you go. Vince Carter at 19.
I think Coach O like Duncan.
Hey, Aaron just posted that, so he must have heard it. Like, whoa, what?
That was a real late response. Number 13, Oscar Robertson.
Okay.
There we go. Now
Okay.
Number 12, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay, that's what we've been hearing.
I'm scared of this 11.
And number 11, Elvin Hayes.
Okay.
Elvin Hayes.
Okay.
So it could be said your number 15 and your number 19 pick probably were like the most controversial. I'm just curious, man, because it's not about your criteria, but make your case. They're trying to hold Vince Carter up at the door to get in at 19.
I'm gonna put you my list. You guys use, I don't know what factors that everybody else is using. You know what I'm saying? Mine is my for me. I love watching offense. Mine is offense. It's an offensive minded list.
And you know what, to Terry's point, we talked about wins. What is it about Vince Carter? Nice guy, dominant guy. Was it just something about his appeal that he just wasn't? I almost could be like, you could say Dominique would be you did have Dominique higher than him. But it's almost like, was he too nice? Was that Vince Carter's issue where people don't?
I don't know why he doesn't get the credit. I think he deserves a lot more.
Or because he was at Toronto, because that Toronto.
It may have been a Toronto thing.
That Toronto was one of the stepchildren of the NBA, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. And sadly his dunking ability, like I think a lot of experts, guys that analyze the game, analysis, they kind of saw him as just a dunker, just a guy that was really athletic and that could really give you so much just based off his athletic ability. A lot of that's a big slack on his offense, and
he closed out games though. Look at Monty say he lacked MJ. Monty, I don't know how you sound, but I can just picture you like he lacked MJ's heart. You probably don't sound like that,
Yeah, but the point is that numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. You're right.
The number of points that he put up. Check it for yourself.
How many careers he had? How many years he had? 19 years?
Ooh, how many years did he got? I know he played. Let me see.
I think he's over 20. I think
he's like Iron Man.
He was around a long time. He played over 1,500 games. So yeah.
I love what Aaron said. Regarding Carter, he jumped around with too many teams. He didn't put teams over the top, and I think that's the part. And I still think there's a knock on him. And this is crazy because I'm a huge proponent of education. When he decided to miss. Did he miss he came close to missing that playoff game to walk across the stage?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that, guys?
Yeah.
That's it. Well, listen, guys, this has turned out to be a very productive show, probably one of our longest shows. But, hey, we got great things to talk about with great people. I want to thank everybody who's chimed in, who brought a scoop, got on with us. Moni made it back through, of course, Aaron Mays, and then Johnny Hoops as well. We want to be able to get you in with some of the topics. We do respect everybody sharing that, even some of your partners. Tay Anderson, shout out to Tay and Ben Harbor as well. And also
we got one more thing popping up.
What's popping up? Oh, what Moni say? Moni said, my pop's watching with me. He asked if Grant Hill and Penny Hardaway don't get hurt, are they top 10? Ooh.
Well, that's a good question.
Grant Hill was that dude.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, if Grant Hill,
you know what?
Be in the mix.
You know what my answer is going to be to that? And I did hear the part, and thank you, Pops, for watching. And I'm glad it's something that people want to watch. I will put a non-injured Grant Hill and a non-injured Penny right around where we put Olajuwon, where we put Hakeem at. Where Hakeem come in at? Or put this way, they couldn't be above Hakeem. Because, see, I'm kind of like, I'll go with y'all with where y'all said Hakeem was, but y'all can't put nobody else over. What did you have Hakeem at, Orlando?
I can't remember.
I had him for me at 11.
Yeah,
he was almost top 10. He almost was top 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's my issue, Moni. Like Hakeem being the barometer that they can't go beyond it. My mom said, "Great show, gentlemen." It was because people like you checked in, and also who was your partner, Chief? Oh, she said Moni said probably about 12 or 15. I would agree. 15, I would agree. Probably more so 15 is. And again, here's the flip side. To answer your question, you said if they were not injured, hell, we don't even know what we would have saw, in all fairness. Because we're probably processing them saying uninjured, but still the injured version.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't even get to see none of Penny, if you think about it. And Grant, bless his heart, was playing with the Pistons.
Right.
Agreed. Appreciate you. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap up, man. I appreciate you guys supporting SPS and what's going on. We have having some great growth. I'm on the road with these guys on a regular basis. We are doing the thing, and I just appreciate you guys. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll be seeing you guys next time on the SPS Edge Show. Peace. Oh, hold on. Jimmy said what?
And T-Mac.
Damn, Jimmy, why you throw that on us now? We got to – Why you wait, Jimmy, to come say that, Jimmy? Oh, we're going to come back to that one, Jimmy. My guy, Jimmy, James Blankenberg. Appreciate you, brother. All right, we'll see you guys. Peace.
All right, peace.